Hello and welcome to Mystic Visions. I'm DrShiny. This is a reading for Cancer in the month of January 2021. Happy New Year. And if you are not a Cancer, please look at my channel to find the reading for your sign. This is a general reading. It's meant to apply more broadly across the entire month. And if you are looking for something more specific, please check out my channel for the daily readings. In this reading, we will be using my adaptation of the Celtic Cross, and I will explain the meaning of each card as I draw them. Please leave a message in the comments if you have any questions or if you would like some clarification. I would be very happy to draw a few additional cards for anyone who's subscribed to the channel. So just ask me in the comments if that's something you're interested in. So let's go ahead and get started for Cancer, my Cancer friends. So you have this is your current situation. This is what's crossing or influencing you. This is what you're moving away from. This is what you're moving toward. This one is the foundation or the subconscious, what's going on there. This is the crowning thoughts or what's going on in your conscious mind. This one, let me move these over a little bit. This one is your advice card. And this one is the environment. Your fears. And then this one is the overall message or long-term outcome of the situation. Okay, so your current environment or your current situation, sorry, not environment, that's this one. Your current situation is this Page of Cups. I love how in this card they have the Page of Cups as this white rabbit, and it looks like very Alice in Wonderland type thing. So that's how I think of the Page of Cups. It's like a new feeling of adventure, or there's some sort of journey of emotional fulfillment that's just popped up, and you're going down that sort of rabbit hole, right? It can mean good news, like a new birth, or a child is born, or something like that, or just any sort of new thing that you had previously not really considered, and it almost pops up out of nowhere. There's also, a lot of times the cards for the Page of Cups have like a fish popping up out of the cup, which represents this thing comes on as a sort of a surprise, and it's kind of nonsensical, right? There's no, why would a fish be coming out of a cup? That's just madness, right? Well, madness is something that can very much add a lot of liveliness or happiness to your life, a lot of meaning, paradoxically. You'd think, well, nonsense. How does nonsense add meaning, right? How does nonsense add sense? Well, it just so happens that that's sort of a necessary element of life, and you can't be without any sort of nonsense, or you'll drive yourself insane. So crossing you here is this Queen of Swords. So, crossing or influencing, Queen of Swords is more of a prickly, she has this... She's very intellectual, very smart, but she's a little bit more intellectual in a internal sort of way. The king is a little bit more involved with controlling people or influencing them or manipulating them. Queen of Swords is really a little bit more internal with her thoughts. She is thinking about how the world is. But she's still quite an intimidating person, because if you engage with her, she's not going to hesitate to use that intellect, right? So I like the way that this one is depicted in this card as well, because she's got a little bit of a severe, kind of scary stance here, and she's a little bit, like I said, prickly, or not always the warmest person, because she's very matter-of-fact. So this is the energy that is crossing or influencing you. So either this is a person who has been kind of on your mind, who is creating some sort of an obstacle for you, or this is more of like an energy that you're kind of having to get over, even within yourself. So there could be a need for things to be explainable, to know how things are going, to understand. That is kind of a challenge for you in this situation where the Page of Cups, where there's kind of more of like a nonsense and you don't really have a grip on reality, but it's kind of necessary for you to let go a little bit and just kind of enjoy the scenery, so to speak. So that can be there's definitely a harsh dynamic between these two energies here, where on the one hand there's this whimsical, free-flowing energy, and then on the other hand there's a little bit more calculated and controlling and reserved type of an energy that is trying to figure things out or to know. What you're moving away from is this Emperor in the reverse. So, the Emperor represents like masculinity and authority and all these things. And curiously, you also have the Empress in this reading. So we'll get to the meaning of that in a minute. But with this Emperor, there is a sort of a... well, in the reverse, there is kind of an overbearing attitude or somebody who's kind of abusing their authority, that kind of thing. You're moving away from that. You're perhaps kind of sick of it. You're not okay with it anymore. And so you're kind of moving in another direction to get more into your own element, to lead yourself a little bit more instead of having this overbearing thing coming down on you all the time. And I don't know if it's a person in your family or, the landlord or your boss or whatever it is, but something has been a little bit too overbearing in your life and you're kind of moving away from that. What you're moving toward, oh no, is a kitty. Oh boy, let's see if she knocks any. Oh, look how skilled she was. She didn't touch any of them. Okay, so what you're moving toward is this. Oh, round two. Wait for it. Don't step on the cards. Oh, she stepped on the Temperance. Okay, let's get her off of here before we ruin the reading. Okay, so the Queen of Wands in the reverse. Queen of Wands tends to be a little bit more of like a nurturing energy. Also, she's, a gardener is a good way of thinking about her. You're sort of resisting this transition. So if there are two cards that are most commonly associated with like pregnancy, that type of thing, it would be the Queen of Wands and the Empress. So, these are both in your reading. One's in the direction you're headed. One is in your advice. Both are in the reverse. Meaning there may be a little resistance to this, or there is, again, this maybe feeling like you need to control the situation instead of letting it do its own thing. Now, with the Queen of Wands, this is a really good metaphor for this because a gardener does not, force a plant to grow. A gardener gives the plant what it needs, and it flourishes on its own. So you don't grow the plant grows itself, but you just sort of look after it, keep it in a safe environment, and you don't control it. You let it do what it does. So this resistance of like moving toward this nurturing type of energy is probably something that you've been conditioned, maybe in your past, that this the Emperor in the reverse here is that overbearing energy that you're moving away from. So you're going to have to overcome that. It's probably something that, you may have been raised that way to where everything was controlled. And so you kind of feel like that's the way it has to be. But you're moving away from that and moving toward this energy that while you are resisting it, it's something that you're going to have to recognize. And it's something you're going to have to incorporate into your own method or way of doing things. I'm finding that this is really clicking well for a good metaphor of having a child, but not everybody reading this general reading is of course having a child. So it's not all about that, but you are having to move away from the domineering, controlling attitude and more into looking out for people's feelings and being a little bit more warm. That kind of thing. So that's the more general way this applies. The crowning thoughts here is the Knight of Coins. This Knight of Coins he's very determined and focused, and sometimes stubborn, sometimes really stubborn. So I would say maybe the most stubborn card in the deck. But it's a determination, right? It's a on the one hand, it's a good quality. On the other hand, it can be just there's an excess to everything. There's a balance that needs to be achieved no matter what the quality is. So, being the foundation card, you're being taught in this situation to kind of relax your grip a little bit and to not feel like there is one way that things have to be done, but to allow things to go their own way. That's the whole point of this situation that you're going to be going through this January. So the crowning thoughts here is the Chariot in the reverse. Chariot typically deals with there's a sense of accomplishment, right? And in the reverse here, it's not accomplished yet. There can be some self-doubt here, some worrying. There's also just a sense of needing to sort of temper these different energies to achieve your goal. This one's also very similar to the Temperance card here, which is in your environment. So there's a lot of coherence here with the reading that I'm getting, meaning that there's probably a pretty specific situation that's going on here. Normally it's a little bit more general for the monthly readings, but this seems like a pretty specific situation. Now, in this being in your crowning thoughts, what's on your mind, you're very much focused or fixated on the things that still have to be done, the things that you need to accomplish, and also just, kind of those feelings of being incomplete or that you're rushing to do something. Chariot has a lot to do with speed, so you may feel like things are not going fast enough, but it's also decision. This can be indecision in the reverse. So Chariot always has to make this choice of like, well, I've accomplished certain aspects of my life, or I've done certain things, and now it's time to decide a new direction from that. Or I always picture like a teenager who's trying to get a car. He wants a car really bad, but he wants the car so bad, he puts all of his energy into that, and he doesn't really think about, what am I going to do with this car once I have it? Where's it going to take me? So in this reverse, it's like you are a little indecisive about what's going on. You don't know what choices that you want to make. And so a big part of that is probably just going to be like, don't worry about the choices so much, and, kind of wing it a little bit. It's probably going to be what works out best for you. Your advice card being the Empress in the reverse. This is, again, a very nurturing energy. This is really close to the Queen of Wands. They have a similar idea behind them. And I would say the Queen of Wands is kind of like a more immature version of this Empress, which is more decided and matured. So, Empress is the kind of motherly energy. It's nurturing. It's not. So the Emperor is the masculine side of things. He lays down the law. He says, you have to be a certain way to fit in with the environment around you. Whereas the Empress is more about building you up from the inside instead of tempering that outside external shell. It's about fostering a sense of confidence and self-worth and everything. A plague in our current society is a feeling like you're not worth anything if you're not doing anything, or that you're a bad person if you are not being productive. You should have a neutral viewpoint of yourself if you're not productive, but instead you look at yourself as a negative. Your baseline, your very bottom baseline, is a negative, and that's kind of a problem because it leaves everybody feeling a little bit worthless or unworthy. And so this is going to be necessary, even though it's in the reverse, meaning that you're kind of resisting this idea. It's going to be necessary for you to build up people around you or somebody, even when you don't necessarily feel like it, to push them forward with that loving, nurturing energy and saying, you know what, it's all right. Whatever you've done, it's okay. And I'm going to support you anyway. And you're going to be resistant to this idea. So watch out for that, because the best way forward here is definitely to have that sort of more, I don't care what the facts are and what's happened before. I'm just here for you. I'm here to support you, you know. Now, your environment card being the Temperance in the reverse. Temperance, if you temper a sword, you heat it up, you bang it with a hammer, and it comes out the other side quite a bit stronger. So in the reverse here, there's a lot of people are not seeing what's going on as an opportunity to grow and to be stronger. They're seeing it as a stressful time, something to break them down, or an additional challenge that's not working in their benefit. You don't have to take on that energy yourself. You can see things in a positive light. You can see these challenges as an opportunity for growth, for becoming a better version of yourself. And if you do that, you're going to be quite a bit better off. But what we have for your advice is the Six of Coins. Six of Coins is very much involved with like charity, but the other side of that is there's somebody who needs that charity, or if not charity, that may be too specific here, giving and receiving, right? So the Six of Coins has this abundance, and they are giving to this person who doesn't have anything. I like the way that in this case that the person that's receiving kind of looks like an egg, because to me it carries with it this energy that you may think there's not a whole lot of value in just giving to somebody else who has nothing, but what happens is it's like planting a seed. It also looks like there's a tiny little tree up there on the top of his head. So it's like planting a tree, and as time goes by, this thing will grow and develop into something great, right? So you are being this is in your fears card. I don't know if I said that already, but this is in your fears card. I don't know what I said it was, but so it may be that you are a pragmatic person who is very interested in good investments and seeing a return on whatever effort you put in and whatnot. So there's a difficulty in just investing in something that you don't see a reason why. This situation is going to kind of teach you a little bit more about why it's a good idea to give, even when you don't necessarily have anything coming back in return. And if it helps, you can sort of recognize that the good feelings that you get are a return. That's a return that's always possible, even if you're not seeing the immediate benefit. But just because you don't see a benefit doesn't mean it's not there. A lot of times something great comes about from just having a little faith and giving away without any thought of return. On the other hand, this could be in your fears card because you're afraid of needing to rely on others for taking care of yourself or those that you love. You're afraid of being reliant on some other people. That can be a problem because the sad, cold, hard truth of it is that everybody relies on others, and you can't do it by yourself. You can't do it without help. You have to have somebody who's in your corner who's looking out for you as well. Everybody, it's almost a universal story of adulthood where everybody thinks that they can do it by themselves when they set out, and they gradually find that they are gonna have to rely on other people. And knowing when something is like out of your personal control or too much for you to handle is just an aspect of maturity, and it helps a lot because you have to rely on others a lot less when you learn to recognize when you do need others, right? So the overall situation here, the overall message is the King of Wands. This is, he's a doer. He accomplishes a lot. He gets a lot done. This is where you're headed in the long run. So these struggles with the more nurturing or friendly type of energy that is, trying to basically bring people up from the inside instead of just the outside. These things are necessary parts of life. So even though it may not be your cup of tea or what you feel like doing, you have to figure out at least a minimal amount of it, because it is a tool to be in your belt, an arrow in your quiver, which is going to help you in your overall quest to become whoever it is you want to be, and to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. So I do see that there's kind of a resistance to going this direction that you're having to go, but if you're able to take these things as something that is improving you or making you stronger, then in the outcome of this, you're going to be quite a bit more powerful of an individual. You're going to see that there's a lot more ability to get things done once you sort of incorporate more of these different energies than what you kind of feel like are the core of your personality or your being. But branch out a little bit and you'll have a lot more flexibility, which will allow you to accomplish more. So that's about it for January, for the month of Cancer. And if you have any questions or concerns, again, please leave a message for me in the comments. And again, I will also be happy to draw some additional cards for anybody who has subscribed to the channel. So make sure you click subscribe. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the next daily reading, and next month for your next monthly reading. So have a good one.